Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hello, Fearless Freedom family. Welcome to this episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Today, we have the amazing Lara Francisco here with us, and she is the founder of Medelita. Have you ever heard of Medelita? It is an amazing company that has so many stylish items to offer those of us who are in healthcare. So from coats to scrubs to you name it. So I am super excited to hear Lara's story because she has a great one. Lara?
Thank you so much, Dr. Gregory. I am really excited and honored that you asked me to be on your podcast. So thank you very much.
And thank you for being here.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
I can't wait to get into your story and how did you go from being an emergency medicine PA to starting your own company and taking it global? Like, how did all that happen?
Yeah, it's kind of a naive move. As a female clinician working in the ER, I was just continually baffled by what we were issued to wear. These unisex, boxy, shapeless, frumpy garments. I couldn't figure out why or how we were supposed to present ourselves professionally, in this manner, and why for so many decades this had been considered acceptable. And I, just spent a lot of time researching, trying to find something better, like Googling for female clinician scrubs, like looking at all the different options and never found it. And just always said, I cannot be the only female clinician that feels this way. And I wasn't and never have been a super fashionista. I don't, spend crazy amounts of money on clothing. I just want to look decent and I want to be comfortable. And that was really, the impetus behind Medelita, like taking the unisex style scrubs and feminizing it professionally, appropriately, not over the top, not too tight, not too loose, but in a way that someone could work a 12, 14, 16-hour shift and be, very, very comfortable and not have to think about their pants falling down or their crotch riding, midway, down their thigh, or their V-neck too low when they go to examine a patient. I thought to do something about it.
And so so you had a pain point and then you sought to try to figure out if there were others that had the same pain point. Now, was there any fear associated with that? Like, were you afraid of starting something, or, you mentioned that you're not a designer. So how did you even figure out like who to even talk to as far as designing what you had in mind?
Yeah, I'm a really determined personality. So I actually, like I said, naively didn't have a ton of fear at that time. Perhaps I should have, because I had to do absolutely everything from scratch with no business background, no apparel manufacturing background, no management background. Certainly no website background, business plan, nothing. So I just, pursued these different opportunities and got lucky a few times, and then just, was relentless in other ways. For example, the economy was very good. This is back in 2006 when I had this idea. Mm-hmm. And I would call all of these U.S. patent holders for these very unique performance yarns. This is really coming into play at this time where people were switching, or you were seeing, garments, especially in athletics, go from just interesting colors and stripes to now very functional garments that did something for the wearer because of the fabric and the yarns themselves. So I would call these these patent holders and ask for a meeting, and they would either hang up on me or never call me back, or as soon as I said the word startup, they would like laugh at me.
Wow.
It was very difficult to enter this market, without being an established, humongous world leader in apparel. So got lucky with one of them, got really lucky with some introductions for manufacturing, did my own research locally for pattern makers, wrote my own business plan, was able to raise some money to get off the ground, and just dove in from there.
Wow. That is such an awesome story. I mean,
Yeah.
you literally just like crushed like so many myths and so many like things that would thwart someone's progress as an entrepreneur. Like you got no's, but what did you do? You kept on asking until you got a yes. You didn't see what you needed, so you kept on looking until you found something that would work for the time being until you got to the next step. That is absolutely amazing.
Thank you. It sounds great now. I don't know, so many years later, but at the time, like I remember being at this pattern maker's office, and I was like her last priority, and she was like 4 months past due with a single pattern.
Oh, wow.
And I was in tears, and I was so embarrassed because I wanted to be strong as a leader and start this company, and just always set a great example and never let my emotions get to me. And there I was just sobbing, like just thinking, I'm paying you. Why are you not performing? Like, why is this so difficult?
Right.
And that's, surprisingly, I've hit points like that all along where I am just dumbfounded by how difficult it is to get something done that seems rather simple. But it's a very difficult industry, wrought with challenges and things you can't control. And you just have to keep forging ahead. You cannot let these things get to you. If you're late, you're late, but it will eventually get done. And I've enjoyed growing from those experiences for sure.
I'm sure that because are you partnered with your husband, or how was
Yeah,
it?
that's a fun topic. We are business partners. He works as the CEO, although he wears many, many hats.
Sure.
And we work 24/7 together,
Okay.
as parents, as business partners. And it's, he is luckily good at everything that I'm not. We are exact opposites in terms of our background and talent.
Okay.
I'm very precise, very detailed. Obviously I understand, the healthcare industry because I've worked in emergency medicine for 10 years and urgent care. And I have relationships, it's easy to develop those relationships with obviously with colleagues or with new colleagues that I've met, and bring that knowledge and that insight into our business. He is great at the big picture. He's great at management. He's great at marketing. It's just opposite talents. It's been a really challenging time in order to figure out how we can work side by side and appreciate those differences even when we don't agree. That's been really hard.
But it almost sounds like you guys are, because you have different things to bring to the table, that is probably what helps it to be successful.
Yeah.
No?
I mean, we would not be here without that, and without other, key managers that also bring, again, other extreme talents that neither one of us have. You just learn over time. We were never going to give up. We weren't going to let it go. It was definitely something that was needed, and people were responding well to it.
Right.
How to do it and how to get there and how to make a penny, was the difficult part that provided a tremendous amount of stress. But we're still here, and we're really proud, and we've definitely grown personally, as well as professionally from this experience together.
I mean, the company, so I became familiar with your company probably a couple of years ago. But I mean, it's just amazing. The quality of the product. I love my coats. I just love them. I mean, I mean,
I'm so glad.
trust me, family. Laura is not paying me to say that. Like, I actually love my coats. I love the scrubs. My husband even commented because I told him, I said, "Can you believe who's going to be on the podcast today?" And he was
Oh,
like, "Who?" And I was like, "Laura from Medelita." And he was like, "Wow." He's like,
yeah.
first he was like, "How'd you pull that one?"
No, I'm so like, I just, I love talking to people and I love telling our story. It's not, I'm pretty introverted, so this isn't, 100% comfortable for me, but I really want to tell it more and tell people why we're here. And I think, that's exactly why we're here. We want to make the very, very best quality garments that are thoughtful and meaningful and purposeful to the wearer. And we're not just some random company that said, oh, there's a void in the market, let's make really high quality lab coat scrubs and, scrub jackets for people. We really understand who these are going for and why every single stitch detail is so important and why pocket placement needs to be here and why the lapel cannot cover the embroidery and
Right.
just all those details that are understood so intimately. Why, especially with the embroidery, like it has to be perfect. We are basically representing their diploma, and it's very personal to people. We take this very seriously, and it's done so in a way that most other apparel companies cannot speak to. It represents everything about their career and all their sacrifices, and for that reason, it must be perfect. And that's who we are and who we'll always be.
Love it. Wow. That's amazing. Like that is, I can hear the why in your story and it's such a meaningful why. It's you started with that pain point where you looked around and you said, look, this is just like, why are we don't look professional. We don't look like, we don't look, you have to be stylish, but you don't look sharp,
No.
and
it's basically like a jail uniform in a different color. That's what most people have been wearing, and in terms of scrubs and then the lab coats, when we first started Medelita, we would go to like an upwards of like 40 medical conferences a year, just Joe and I. And
that's good. You get yourself out there.
So we could get ourselves out there and be in
Okay.
front of people, walking the halls between, their lectures. And you'd ask any female clinician what size you wear, and they would say a men's suit size. And it would never occur to them to say a size 8, a size 12, a size 4, because they had never, ever been offered a lab coat in their size before. And they come to our booth and they're very stoic and very, just got this wall around them, like, and then you give them their size and a lab coat and they put it on and it just totally melts away from their body. And they look in the mirror for the first time, like, holy crap, like this is me. Like, this is what I deserve to wear. This is how I feel from the inside, but I've never been able to express outwardly. Like, and that is a gift for us to see. And for that reason, I want to do everything perfectly. And that is our goal here.
Well, for one, I'm glad that you pay attention to detail.
Yeah,
that you have that characteristic about you.
Yeah, it might be one of my faults, but it's also been to our benefit. And I always said, early in the manufacturing process, like, it will always make continual improvements, whether it be fabric, or fit or pocket placement, embroidery, anything, because we just make the same thing over and over again. We introduce some new styles once in a while, but it needs to be right. It needs to fit everyone at all sizes. It needs to be comfortable. It needs to never be something that you think about, during your workday. It should never distract from, what you're doing. And if it fits well and it's comfortable and the fabric's right, then we've done our job.
Awesome. Love it. So, we have to get back a little bit
Mhm.
to the fear side, right? So
Right.
there's a lot of fodder in there that you mentioned. So we talked a little bit about, during the grassroots days when you guys were, new startup and you were going door to door and trying to get that first patent approval, and then next the manufacturing piece. Have you had any fear surrounding success? We talked about pushing forward to get things going. What
Mhm.
about fear surrounding success? Have you ever experienced that?
I think it's just the fear more for us. It's been the fear of will we be able to succeed? Because we spent the first basically 8 to 10 years really in this business, wondering if we'd be able to survive, and really not making much money at all, just reinvesting that money into the company. It's a very, very financially difficult business to run an apparel company in which you have to order these specialized yarns and fabrics 9 to 12 months in advance of ever receiving a finished product. You have a ton of outlay, with a long-term distance between seeing profits. So for me, it's just been this fear of, will people accept this change? Because in the
Okay.
beginning, I do think that we are way ahead of our time, that to tell people that you can no longer, or maybe you should consider not wearing something that you've received for free. Both scrubs and lab coats are often free,
That's
especially
true.
many years ago.
Yeah.
You should consider now paying for something that not only fits better, but is highly functional, but it will cost you some money. And that just in itself was like just a big hurdle to overcome. Like people just couldn't fathom they're going to have to pay, good money for a highly functional, very high quality lab coat. And that just took us so long. So would enough people, overcome that obstacle and decide also that this is a valuable tool for their, professional, endeavors? Does it represent them in a way that they need? Does it make sense to buy that? And then just, whether or not we would be able to make enough money in order to grow this business to a point that it made sense.
Gotcha.
And that's been a really, really challenging thing, for a mainly self-funded business.
So where are you guys now in that trajectory?
Yeah, now, since about 2014, we've been, luckily we're able to change the way that we sell garments and fund the business. So initially for those, 2008 to 2014, it was mainly individual, physicians, PAs, other healthcare providers individually pursuing or purchasing lab coats and scrubs. So one set here, 2 sets there, a
I
small
see.
group order here.
Okay.
And now we supply to very large, institutions, and have a large group order process both nationally and internationally. So
Awesome.
that has
Awesome.
been a wonderful asset that allowed us to truly grow the business, and then again introduce new products and new fabrics, and get the business going in the direction that we would like to. It was really because of our fabrics that we have there, durable beyond belief, even to us. And
It is
that's
pretty
what,
durable, I have to say.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's what we needed in order
I
to.
have the one coat. One of my coats has just been through a lot, and it still looks great. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
durable.
Joe's on my case about that. He says they're too durable, and that we're never going to be able to sell to anybody again that buys one. But hopefully, with new styles, they'll want to buy another. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I think you could tell Joe that I don't think that's it. I think people still buy others, and they will buy scrubs, and so you'll have a lifelong customer when you have a product that's durable. It's not necessarily a one and done. So it's all
yeah,
good.
well, that's good. We have a lot of new stuff coming out, so hopefully that'll be something people want.
Absolutely. And then so now that you're in this phase, are there any fears associated with where the future of the company is going?
Yeah, I mean, I have to hit on the topic. We floated, alone in this high-end, performance-based, tailored garment, lab coat and scrub space for a very long time. And then some other companies came into play that also provide, very nice quality products, different styling, and
Right.
different features. But that's a scary adjustment, to be floating with no competition and then suddenly have very well-funded, significant competition. And that's been something that I've worked through, over the last 4 or 5 years, that, those people that associate with our brand and the people that represent our brand and see that we're 100% dedicated to the initiatives and the pursuits of people that choose to wear Medelita, and that we have a very, very diverse group of people and ambassadors that are doing amazing things. They're highly established, physicians and PAs and dentists and DOs and nurses that, choose to wear Medelita, and we want to tell their story on a different level. That those people will find us, and
absolutely,
and everyone can find the brand that's right for them, and that's okay.
That's true.
And that's where we stand to this day.
That's great. I mean, that is great. Because a lot of times we feel like when we're, I can't speak to the manufacturing side of things, but in any space, we may feel like, either we are early adopters or we arrive in a space first, or, there's only a couple others in the space with us. And we feel like there aren't enough humans to go around, right? We start feeling like, oh, wait, there's more people coming to this space. I feel like there are not enough humans that are going to be able to serve. But the truth is that there are plenty of humans, and there are plenty of humans that are in your tribe, and there are plenty of humans that specifically want what you have to offer. So, I think that's amazing.
Thank you. I just, the message of who we are and why we're here and why we do things to the quality level and the detail level that we do is more important to me than anything else. It's not about, beauty or, bling or anything like that. It's just really about the story and the thoughtfulness of it all, and really helping the customer at a level that they've never experienced before, and making sure that the garment that they receive is respectful of and representative of all that, then that's most important to me.
Wow, thank you for sharing that, Lara. I think that the audience is definitely going to be touched and moved by that. And, if there's anybody out there who's looking for a white coat or looking for scrubs, you need to check out Medelita.
Oh, thanks.
She didn't
Thank
pay
you, Dr.
me
Gregory.
for that. I'm not, she's not paying me to advertise. This has been such a good conversation. Have you had any situations where there's been some fear surrounding your life outside of business?
Yeah, that was something I thought about a lot when I read your questions ahead of time. So I had always envisioned all my life since I was a kid being just the greatest mom, and I worry. I see, that our kids are our daughter's 9 and our twins are 6.5, and I just see them growing up so quickly, and I'm so still like stuck in the mud here just all the time. It's like a 24/7 job. I work here, and I'm always doing something on the phone on my way home, and then I get home, and that's when I start to get emails, from Asia. So then I'm looking at emails from Asia, and they're up all night. So I feel like I'm a distracted parent in a way that I never wanted to be, and I'm always trying to figure out how I could do better at that. They're just growing up so fast, and I don't want to miss that or ever look back and regret not finding a way to make it work or balancing it all better before it's too late.
Now, have the children, do they have a role at all in the business? Is that perhaps one way to integrate them? Like, do they get involved in any of the processes?
When they're here, like they're when they're at school or camp, they're not here a lot, and the business isn't super close to our home,
Okay.
unfortunately. So I have a commute on top of it. But when they're here, like, they're really proud, to be here, and they, like to watch me in fittings. And our littlest girl, she has this little pull-out couch thing that she brings in and does her whole setup with her dolls, and often does it, in the worst place in the room, right in the middle of where the fit model needs to stand, right in front of the mirror. So, but, she
That's
wants to be a
great.
part of it. And, it makes me proud. I really want them to see what I'm doing, and that, women can do anything, and that they can take on tremendous roles and be a positive force, in their career and amongst other colleagues. I want them to see that, and I want them to understand, what I do and what Joe does, and how we work together in order to make this work. So.
I think that's great. And I honestly, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because, we tend to have this mom guilt, like it sounds like that's what you're describing.
It's extreme. Yeah.
And it is, our children are going to be just fine, right? Your daughter is seeing that she's seeing exactly that. She's seeing you in the role as a strong woman, making a difference. She's seeing that. What greater impact could that have, right, for her? And so, I hope that you would not beat yourself up at all. And I know that you're not going to have any regrets, because they're on this journey with you. They're with you. They're seeing everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that makes all the difference. It would be different if you were on the other side of the world all the time, and they never saw you, or didn't see you do the fittings. They didn't see you making the designs. And didn't see any of that. And then to stop, mom was just mom was just missing. I think that is a whole different level of guilt, I guess, associated than you being present. Unfortunately, sometimes having to deal with some business things while at home, but trying to integrate them in the process so that they can see what it takes.
Yeah. Our Ellie, our youngest, she's really cute. Snuggle time is really important to her. She likes us to lay with her while she falls asleep. And when it's my turn, she's insistent that I put my phone down and turn the light off, and that we just snuggle, and it's so tempting to just look at the emails and check on Instagram, to see if I need to reply to anyone. And, but I totally just, turn it off, put it down, and just totally envelop myself with her so that we can have that really, really special time. And I love that she forces that. And I agree with that decision. She's taught me something.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, that's great. Good for her.
Yeah.
It's Ellie's time. It's time for you and me.
That's right. Yeah.
No, that's great.
Putting her foot down.
That is great. So, we have been chatting, and it's been such an amazing conversation, but I think that we are at the end of our conversation. So it's time for us to do our fill in the blank, as is a tradition on this show. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. So the first one is, to me, fearless freedom means.
I said standing up for what I believe in without fear of the opinions or doubts of others. I think this is especially important as a female entrepreneur.
Sweet. Okay. And then the next one is, if I am fearless, I will
move quickly with confidence and not hesitate to make changes.
Yes, that is great. That is great. Your battle cry is
never give up. That's a big mantra in our house. We always say Francisco's never give up, and the kids repeat this daily. And I emulate that in everything that I do.
Love it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day and sharing your thoughts and those amazing pearls with us. And we are definitely looking forward to watching your star continue to shine and rise higher and higher. Thank you for joining us today on this journey. Fear is all around us. It strives to stop us from achieving our greatness. We have the tools to be overcomers by sharing our stories, supporting each other, and doing self-reflection, we can do this. If you found value in this conversation today, please be sure to subscribe to and share this podcast with your friends. By going to your favorite podcast platform, leaving a review and a 5-star rating, you will help to get the word out about it. And that is much appreciated. Thanks again for spending time with us. I appreciate your time and your attention. It is my hope that you will punch fear in the face today and that you will be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.